Hi, Dr. Paul Haider here. You know, a lot of times we have a lot of fear about a lot of things. I'm just talking to a man, and he plays the stock market. He's a day trader. And it kind of drives him crazy because he has fear he's going to lose his money, but he does it anyway on the hopes that he's going to make more money. And he's just full of anxiety, and at the same time, there's a lot of greed there. And I said, "Why do you do this? You know, I mean, you're a chain smoker, you drink it like a fish, and it's all because you're so pent up with this anxiety that you got going on. But I might make some money. And he had a lot of fear that he might not have any money, and that's really what a lot of people's lives boil down to. A fear of this or fear of that, and that's kind of a sad way to have an existence. You know what I mean? My life is driven by fear. If there's some fear over here, I go the other way. If there's some fear over here, I go the other way. So we're kind of like a ping pong ball, moving back and forth, moving, down the path. And so we never really have a choice. We are just driven by what is going on in the particular society that we're in. And boy, that makes it really difficult for life because there's no happiness being a ping pong ball. You're always getting whacked one way or another. So I think it's really important that we understand, what would happen if all of a sudden everything I believed in, everything that I had, everything just disappeared. And that's not impossible. Some people all of a sudden have a death in the family, maybe the husband or the wife, or, a child, especially, or, divorce, and all of a sudden, or something else, they lose their job, or something even bigger. I mean, something that comes from a planetary process, that would bring down everything a person believes in. Maybe even, here comes aliens. How can I accept that? Wow. Just talking about something out of the blue. How would people deal with things like that? I mean, people have been dealing with these things forever. And some deal with them very well, others don't deal with them very well at all. But I think it has to do with the fact that there's not a heartfelt feeling that I am, deep down inside. There's all these prejudices about everything that we have going on deep down inside. A lot of people say, "Oh, I'm not prejudiced." And there was really an interesting study. They took kindergartners and they divided them up into two groups, one with brown eyes and the other with blue eyes and green eyes. And the brown eyes, they were able to have all the privileges. They got to have an extra, graham cracker. They got a little extra sip of milk, and the other kids, they didn't get the extra privileges. And all of a sudden, there was like these two camps, and they started fighting with each other, hitting each other, and just here are kindergartners. And very interesting. I thought that was extremely interesting. Then another study where they actually made up a fictitious country, and they went around telling people, "Oh, he's from this country," and this person they would tell was from a country they knew. And all of a sudden, they liked the country they knew, the person from that country, and they didn't like the person from that other country that they didn't know. And even though it was made up, our fears again. We have these innate fears deep down inside of us, and every one of us has them. But the more we meditate, the more we see ourselves in our own beautiful light, the more we start looking at how I react in life. And, you know, we start seeing ourselves and we start thinking about what we do. And even Buddha talked about that. The only judgment we should have is the judgment of what we, the actual thoughts and actions that we do. And yeah, Christ talked about that. Uh, Ramana Maharishi talked about that. All the great gurus, Sai Baba talked about that. We ought to look at what we're actually doing. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to make up a little fib, a little white lie, so I can get out of this really easy, and those things accumulate. You know what I mean? And they get easier and easier, and after a while, we find ourselves we got so many of those stacked up that we don't know which one we told this other person. It's so much easier just to stay with the truth, or to say something and not do what we promised, or something like that, or just like I said, do one thing and act on another. People do that all the time, but we think it's all right when we're doing it. But when we see somebody else doing that, oh, that person's a bad person, that type of thing, and we start the judgment thing again. But we forget our own process going on inside of ourselves. We forget that we're the ones doing it ourselves. So what would the world be like if all of a sudden everything that you knew disappeared? Everything that you held dearly disappeared. Everything that you believed in disappeared. What would happen? Sometimes this does happen when people get stranded, a plane crash, or they get stuck on somewhere, maybe at an island because their ship broke down, and different things like that, or they get stuck out in the middle of a desert in a particular place, and they have to deal with all the stuff that they hide inside. And that is our biggest foe right there, all the stuff that we hide inside, because we do hide it. We hide it from ourselves. We hide the ego from ourselves. We hide the fact that we do particular things from ourselves. We hide all this stuff and we think it's okay. And then I was just talking with a man. He said, I neglected my teeth forever. And I had rotten teeth. And then he went to a meditation retreat, and all of a sudden it hit him, I'm the one doing this. I'm the one that's causing my pain. And he started seeing a dentist. He had to have some of those teeth pulled out. He said, you know what? I was my own worst enemy. And it finally hit me that I needed to do something about this instead of wishing that it would just, go away. And it wasn't going to go away. So a lot of times we need to allow ourselves to grasp, what we have going on deep down inside. And I think that's a lot of times I've even met people and talked to them. Why, what about meditating? Oh, no. I might see something about myself. Yeah, you would see something about yourself. You would see yourself. But a lot of times we don't like ourselves. And that is very interesting. How can we go through life not liking ourselves? You know what I mean? We get through life and we just kind of going through the motions, but we really don't like what we're doing. We may not talking about a job or anything like that. I'm talking about we're not liking what we're doing in life. I'm not liking myself because I know I should be a better person. I know that I should have treated that colleague better than I did. Why did I jump all over him? I know I should treat my wife better, but why did I get mad at her the other night? Why did I jump on the phone with my brother and get angry and jump up and down? Or why didn't I call my mom when it was Mother's Day? And on and on and on. You know what I mean? This whole list of things. And a lot of times we end up at the point that we just kind of push it all to the side, and we never look at it because I don't want to look at it because it's painful. But those things need to be eliminated and to be loved. we need to open up the Pandora's box and pull out every little dirty laundry and look at it and go, that's a dirty sock. Yeah. And I'm going to love this dirty sock because, you know what? It's part of me. It's a part of me about getting angry at my wife, and I really don't need to do that anymore. And I'm going to love that part and accept it, and now I'm going to change myself. And then I'm going to let that go. It's part of me. I see it back there in the history, but I forgive, I forget, and I move on. I forgive myself. I forget about the whole thing because I never bring it up anymore. I never bring up being that way in my life again, and I move on with the life. And that is a powerful process. And I tell you, if everybody in the whole planet would do that, it would be some amazing changes, especially some of our leaders in the world. And especially if everybody would do meditation, that would be great. Everybody would go on a really wholesome diet, get away from the junk food, I mean, that drives people to do crazy things too. If we don't have the right fuel, how can the brain work, And we start craving things. And we start craving things in other ways too. We start craving things because we allow the senses to take over. My taste buds need this, my taste buds need that. And I think that's one reason, which is, for some people, it's really good to go on a fast because they, don't allow the taste buds to take over. And I think that's what it was all about when the spiritual text talked about eating simply. Eating a simple menu. And not allowing our taste buds to direct our lives. Because some people, their whole life is about eating. And it's very, very interesting. They get up in the morning, what's for breakfast? Get up and after that, what's for lunch? And then what's for dinner? And then they're looking for snacks in between. But this insatiable urge that's their whole life. But when we stop allowing all those senses, to interrupt the silence that we have inside. We have this great peace inside because we just enjoy being with ourselves. I love silence and I love being by myself. I love enjoying the time alone. And music is great. There's no doubt about that. I love music too, but I have a lot of time in silence. And a lot of people have a hard time with that. A very hard time. They got to play music 24/7, or have the TV on 24/7. I know a man that turns on his TV when he gets into bed and he really doesn't sleep, and then he gets up in the morning and complains, I didn't sleep. That's called junk sleep. I mean, people can't sleep with the TV in front of them. There's no way. Studies show that. But we do it to ourselves. We do. But we can correct all of this, and we can allow ourselves to find a different person deep down inside, a person that we truly love and like. And from there, life changes completely because we see who we could be and who we want to embrace instead of running away from ourselves, by not doing meditation. We want to go into meditation and find ourselves and find out more about us. And the more we find out about us, the more we embrace the love that we have inside for the one we see in the mirror. And from there, great things grow. Life changes in amazing ways because it's not about what happens on the outside anymore. The whole world could fall down, but we still have this rock solid foundation, which is not going to go away. And when that happens, man, oh man, everything changes. Now our relationships change, our working relationship at the office changes, the way we think about others changes and the whole planet changes. Remember, I love you. Also, if you care to contact me, down below is my contact information. Also, my email and Skype, and even my phone number is there. And remember, I go to bed at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so call early. And if you care to subscribe, I greatly appreciate that. And if you care to make a donation, that's really greatly appreciated. We are retired and live on Social Security and little pension, so please, I appreciate that. And it's not necessary, but helps pay the bills. Have a wonderful day.